Okay, awesome. Here we are for another interview then, this time with Andy Abernethie, who is the lead instructor and owner of Samurai Hearts Academy. Andy, do you want to give us a brief introduction to who you are, what you do? That'd be great.
Yes, yeah, sure. First of all, thanks for having me on this session, Dan. I really appreciate that.
Right.
Yeah, as Dan said, I'm Andy Abernethie. In my 41st year of martial arts, started with jiu-jitsu when I was in 1979. And moved to Kaze Arashi Ryu in 2000. And yeah, it's just been a really good journey. Started martial arts because I was bullied at school, which, you know, I think that is the more people that I hear on talking in these interviews, is the more people started because they were bullied at school, which is strange. And yeah, I've just been carried on doing Kaze Arashi Ryu until now. I'm absolutely passionate about it. It's an art that's kind of dying out, and I've got my duty in myself to keep the art alive.
Perfect.
So yeah.
Awesome. So you started off with jiu-jitsu then. Was there anything specific to jiu-jitsu that you liked, or was it just what was available at that time? Or
there wasn't a lot of choice. I started jiu-jitsu because a couple of my friends were doing it from school, and they said, "Oh, why don't you come with us?" And you know, I started doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just got hooked. I just really enjoyed at school I was a really thin child, asthmatic, so I didn't involve in a lot of sports because I couldn't breathe very well.
Yeah.
There wasn't the inhalers around then.
Right.
So obviously, you know, if you had an asthma attack, you couldn't just do your inhaler. You had to just, you know, sit out.
Yeah.
So jiu-jitsu was something that I could get involved with and really enjoy the physicalities of it. I was lucky enough as well that jiu-jitsu now don't teach children, but I was lucky enough to join a junior class on a Saturday afternoon, and the two instructors were fantastic. I mean, I'm still friends with them now.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And they taught me loads of things about myself, and you know, and it was really, really good, and it inspired me then to move forward.
Yeah.
And join the adults class. So yeah, good.
Great. How long did you do the jiu-jitsu for?
21 years.
21 years. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then moved across to the Kaze Arashi Ryu. Sorry,
yes,
that.
Yeah, Kaze Arashi Ryu. I mean, jiu-jitsu was fantastic, and I loved it. And I got to third dan level, and I just got to a stage where I wanted to learn more. There was no striking as such in jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
It was, you know, mainly throws, a little bit of groundwork.
Sure.
You know, a lot of the throws are really technical and stuff, really, really physical. It's a very physical art.
Yeah.
But I just got to a stage where I wanted more. I wanted weapons as well. I went on a couple of Kaze Arashi Ryu seminars, and I just thought, wow, blew me away.
Yeah.
Not just the art, but you know, the teachers that were teaching it, etc. It just blew me away. So
that's a big part, though, as well. Like, how important do you think the teacher is to the art and how they present it and how they respect it? Yeah.
Yeah, very important. Yeah, but I do think if you've got a good art and you kind of know how to teach, the art teaches itself. I know that sounds a bit strange, but if the art is really interesting, then and that's what it was for me. And not everybody likes Kaze Arashi Ryu. There's only a small group of people in the UK that do it, in the world that do it. But it was just what I was after at that time. It just sort of fitted that box, you know.
Can you give us like a brief kind of summary of what Kaze Arashi Ryu is then? Because as you said, it's not particularly well heard of, and maybe it's a dying art as well, you know, unfortunately. So
absolutely,
maybe just summarize what it is for us then.
Well, basically, it's a battlefield martial art. So it's from the ancient Yamabushi, which were the mountain warrior monks in Japan, used to fight samurais with this art.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's, although we call it a samurai art, it kind of is, but it's an art that used to fight samurais. So basically, Kaze Arashi Ryu is designed to fight really good warriors. It's a warrior art. So you're not training yourself to be a fighter, you're training yourself to be a warrior. And there's everything within Kaze Arashi Ryu, mindset training, when you get to a certain level. There's the dark arts, you know, the killing arts. There's the, you know, the healing arts. There's it's a whole tradition.
Wow.
And it's very, very interesting. And even though, you know, the level that I've got to in it, I still look further. I'm like, wow, there's so much further to go. You know, some arts you get to like maybe third dan, and you're like, okay, there's a lot of the grades might be honorary after that, but there's so much more for me to learn. I'm just I just love it. It's great. So basically, Kaze Arashi Ryu is made up of, for ease of learning, 4 separate arts. There's a Temijutsu, which is all the striking arts.
Yep.
Aiki Jujutsu, which is the throwing, controlling, and then there's Kenjutsu and Jojutsu, which is weapons and then staff.
Okay, fantastic, good.
And they're all you can learn one of those as a full martial arts system. It's that detailed. You can just learn one of them. Wow. But to learn Kaze Arashi Ryu properly, it's the whole circle, because learning one helps the other. For example, if you learn the Jo, that helps you with the mechanics of your striking. Yes. It's a very similar sort of movement with your body. So so each of them help each other. So so for me, it's perfect, and I really enjoy it. And I've developed the junior version of it called Samurai Hearts to teach kids. I'm teaching them Kaze Arashi Ryu, but I'm teaching it in a sort of smaller bite-sized chunks, if you like. Sure.
Have you had to filter down some of the content as well then with that?
Yes.
The kids, or
Yeah. So the front of Samurai Hearts is very commercial, and then as they get to certain levels, it gets more traditional as you get through. And then they join a class called Kaze Arashi Cadets, which basically they've gone through the whole system of the kids. And then that's the last class before they join the adults class.
Perfect. Good.
So,
how did you get started with it then, Kaze Arashi Ryu? How did you begin with it?
Like I say, I went on a couple of seminars, and I got to know the UK chief instructor at the time called Kirby Watson.
Okay.
And he kind of knew I was kind of on the fence with jiu-jitsu, and he said, look, if you want to start teaching, he said, just start teaching. He said, I can give you all the information that you need to start a club. And I just started teaching. I hadn't even been graded. I just started teaching it. And this was in 2000. And I advertised it in a local paper, which was the only marketing thing you had then.
Yeah,
I got 18 people down on the first night.
Wow, that's really good, yeah.
I know, it absolutely amazed me. But you see, the thing is, I was quite lucky then, because there wasn't a lot of choice out then. So I just learned it, and I taught it, because obviously to teach you have to know.
Yeah.
So obviously learn to teach to learn, etc.
Yeah.
It was just a cycle from there. And I've just graded, and I mean, when I actually look, I've never actually really had an instructor.
Okay.
Because all the instructors who teach Kaze Arashi Ryu were over at sort of Manchester area.
Okay.
So I'm kind of out on a limb, kind of on the East Coast. I've always learned from seminars, personal tuition from the UK chief instructor. I've never actually had a club instructor regularly every week. I've always been the teacher.
Yeah.
So for me to develop a club in that respect has been quite tricky in some ways.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Do you think that's helped you or hindered you then, not having a set?
I think a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Because I'm not one of these people though, whereas if I don't know the answer to something, I won't make it up.
Not gonna bullshit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll just say, do you know what? I'll review that and we'll cover it next week.
Get back to you. Yeah.
Because when I'm teaching a tradition, I'm not teaching Andy Abernethie martial arts. I'm teaching Kaze Arashi Ryu, and I want it to be authentic as I'm taught it. So.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. So what part for you personally do you enjoy the most? You said your 4 sections, your temi, your throw-in, your bow, and your weapons work and things like that. Is there a specific area that you like to study the most, or that really grasps you, or is it the whole?
I'll be honest. I love the weapons.
Okay.
And I love the striking.
Okay.
As I've got more advanced, I've been shown a lot more detail of the strike, and the striking basically is to kill somebody, and it just blows me away. Yeah. It's the detail of it is striking weak points of the body to make the body in a certain way to make the point that you're striking weak.
Yeah.
And all that kind of movement, and it's really, really interesting. I find that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Why do you think it is a dying art then, and why do you think it's not as popular as other like jiu-jitsu? You've got your Brazilian jiu-jitsu, karate, judo, etc. Why do you think it's not maybe hit the public popularity as much?
Well, because it's very traditional and detailed. It is difficult to learn.
Okay.
It's not easy to learn. You have to think. Even from day one, you have to think about what you're doing. There's a lot of mechanics involved.
Sure.
So it's not just kind of getting up and striking. There's a lot more to it of body movement. So that can, a lot of people that learn martial arts today, no disrespect, but they want that quick fix. They want to learn. And they want to go to a martial arts school and learn something really quick. Kaze Arashi Ryu is a pretty long journey. I was fortunate because I learned jiu-jitsu for so long. I already had the coordination and the body mechanics already in place. So it didn't take me as long as others probably to progress through to the first black belt level.
Sure.
So that's one of the reasons why we started Samurai Hearts, was to try and break it down into really small chunks and teach them the mechanics at a very early age.
When was the decision made then that you wanted to teach full time? Was it quite an early decision, or was it later on?
Well, I started my Kaze Arashi Ryu school in Grimsby in 2000.
Yeah.
And then in 2006, I had a light bulb moment.
Okay.
From a lot of people that I knew, friends that I knew as well. They said to me, "You need to do this for a job."
Yeah.
I had a really good job at a chemical company called Novartis in Grimsby. I don't know if you've heard of Novartis, but they're a big chemical company. I was there 18 years.
Yeah.
These big companies, they put you in your comfort zone. You've got a pension, you've got all, you're on a good wage, and you work in shifts, and it's a great lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I thought to myself, can I actually see myself here till I'm 65? And this was kind of, I was 39 at the time, 39, 40, and I'm just thinking, I don't want this, I want more. What am I passionate about? Martial arts. Okay. So, like I say, in 2006, I started my own martial arts teaching kids. 2007, I left my job, which was everyone said I was crackers. You're leaving a 35k a year job to start something that you really don't know is going to work.
Yeah, it's a risk.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's paid off, because obviously you're successful at doing what you're doing, teaching your passion and things like that now. Yeah,
and I do think that is where my teaching comes from, is I'm passionate about what I'm teaching. And I do think when an instructor is passionate about what they do, it comes through.
Yeah. Do you think a passion is more important than practicality or technique or ability, maybe?
I think it runs alongside it. Definitely. Because when someone's passionate, I don't know what it is. When I see instructors teaching and passionate, I'm fixed.
Yeah.
I don't want to move my eyes. I'm looking, because I don't just look at what they're teaching. I look at the way they teach. As an instructor myself, I'm always looking at other instructors to learn, to make myself better. So I do think that the way even modern martial arts are taught, I'm really interested in the way people get the message across.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Where do you think Kaze Arashi Ryu fits into today's society then, when you do have so many different arts and some of them do have that quick fix, like you say? Where does it fit in terms of practicality, in terms of offering someone something? I
mean, that's a really good question, because I think Kaze Arashi Ryu, although it is an ancient battlefield art, it is designed for multiple attackers.
Okay, yeah, interesting. So there's not many arts out there that deal with multiple attackers now. So.
No. The one thing in Kaze Arashi Ryu that we don't do is what maybe a lot of modern martial arts teach is, let's get down on the floor and grapple.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the worst place to be on the street.
Yeah.
Because they might have another 5 behind them, and
Was
Kaze Arashi Ryu want to do the damage up in the air?
Yeah.
And then while they're passing out, so essentially you do your temi, while they're passing out, you do the throw, so they can't break fall properly.
Yeah.
So then you're using the floor as a weapon as well to hit the floor. So
perfect.
Now obviously you can't, a lot of our training, this is why it's difficult to train in Kaze Arashi Ryu, because a lot of the training's in do, because obviously when you start applying the jutsu, it's you can't do it on partners. You can take it to a certain stage, and then you can't do the rest of it. So that intrigues me a lot. I think that is essentially what a traditional martial art is about.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And have you trained in the traditional martial arts then as well? So you said jiu-jitsu, your Kaze Arashi Ryu, but then I can see elements of other arts like Aikido. I can see elements of Aikido in there, and as you said, like the Aiki Jiu-Jitsu.
Very similar movements. There is very similar movement to Aikido. I know you have a huge Aikido background, and I've seen some of your videos, and yeah, fantastic. And it's a lovely art. I know a lot of people that teach Aikido that I have done seminars with. That's what I love about Kaze Arashi Ryu. I could do a seminar with someone that does karate and teach the Atemi. I can also do a seminar with someone that teaches Aikido, and we can just, I can do a seminar with someone that teaches the samurai sword. Because that's in our art as well. And so it's very broad, and you can fit into most classes.
Yeah, perfect.
So it's interesting. It's an interesting art. I mean, going back to what you said earlier about what makes it different.
Yeah.
I don't think it is different in many ways. I think just the mindset behind it is different.
Okay.
Because we want to destroy, and I know you'll know where I'm coming from with this, from your Aikido background, the other person's center. That's basically what we do.
Yeah.
But once you've destroyed that center, their brain is trying to keep them upright, and that's when all the nice stuff happens. So, that is Kazushi, getting them off balance and all that. It's
it's interesting. No matter what martial art you kind of do, there's certain principles and elements that all fit in the same, isn't it? Like the Kazushi, like taking people off their center. It doesn't really matter whether it's judo, jiu-jitsu, aikido. It's like unbalanced, then apply. It's the same thing, whether that's a strike or a pull down, or and that's what kind of brings it all together, I suppose. It's all the same principles, just a different focus.
Yeah, absolutely.
From what you said, Kaze Arashi Ryu is like a good overall. It's got your strike, it's got your throw, and it's got your, if you look at every single bit of it, perfect.
Absolutely. It is really good, and I think it gives children, adults around in martial arts. We're not competitive. That's the thing. We don't compete. So, it's very traditional. You compete with yourself. To make yourself better, but you don't compete against each other, because a lot of the things that we're doing are quite nasty. So,
do you think a martial art struggles then if there's no competition? Because that's often one of the criticisms of Aikido. Like the traditional arts, maybe more because you have a compliant partner all the time. So it's sometimes difficult to really live test it or live spar it or live roll it.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, and there is an element of that. Obviously, things have to be pressure tested.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu, we used to do some pressure testing drills, and it ended up doing not a lot of technique.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah.
But as long as you got away, that was the main thing.
Yeah.
In Kaze Arashi Ryu, because you're really training yourself to react to a certain situation. So it's all about, if you're ready for an attack, you do a preemptive strike. If you're not ready for an attack, you'd have to block and then strike.
Yeah.
And so it's all training yourself to be aware and ready for that. And then once you get to a certain level, you're working on, is the person pulling back? Are they pushing towards you? And there's techniques in there that you would do in that situation.
Yeah.
So then you're training your body as like a Tai Chi person would. You're really light and feeling the energy.
Sensitive,
Sensitivity, exactly.
Is the grading system similar to other martial arts? Is it a belt system and then you go up through the dans, or?
For Kaze Arashi Ryu, no. It's a white belt until you get to black.
Okay, so a proper traditional like that then. Yeah, really
go
traditional.
All the way up. We wear a thick obi as well.
Yeah, okay.
So you go all the way up to black belt, and then it's called, the first level black belt is called Okuiri.
Okay.
So, entrance to secrets, basically, it means.
Right.
There isn't really any secrets, but it basically means that you've earned the right to be taught properly.
Sure, yeah.
As any black belt.
Sure, yeah. It's the first step on the journey.
Exactly. And that's the same equivalent as like first and second dan.
Okay.
The next level up is called Mokuroku, which means catalogue. So your name is then catalogued in the Kaze Arashi Ryu history.
Okay.
As an instructor. And basically then you go from a white top to a black or dark blue top.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And the grading system, is that similar then in terms of the set syllabus? And
yeah, it is. Yeah, we have a set syllabus. And basically So we'll have something like Shiinagi, which you've probably done thousands and thousands of times in Aikido.
Yeah.
And we have the same technique, but we have kind of maybe 4 different ways of doing it.
Okay.
And the 4 different ways of doing it are from different angles. So it's like a photograph. So whenever you come out into a situation, your mind will recognise that photograph, and you'll go straight into that technique. And that's basically what you train yourself to do, is just sort of get these photographs in your mind of any technique. So any technique that we do in Kaze Arashi Ryu is essentially what we would do if somebody is either pulling away or pushing towards you or moving to the side, or there's a technique for that movement.
Yeah. How have you found it moving online then? Because obviously with the current climate, a lot of schools are closed down, unfortunately. But also a lot have got ingenuitive, or
absolutely.
Thought outside the box.
Absolutely. In March, end of March this year, when I probably had my best month as far as Samurai Hearts ever.
Typically,
yeah. All of a sudden, end of March, I'm like, okay, I could lose all this. You know, and seriously, you have to think that, because it's quite possible.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, being involved with the people that I am involved with, I'm online. Obviously, I've been with Gordon Bircham and his team for 2017 on his mastermind program, and obviously there's meetings there all the time. People ask questions, and it's just great being involved in all these people. Not sure what I'd have done without that. It's helped me a lot to focus. And I was very old school, thinking, can you teach martial arts online? Can you teach what we teach online? You know, I mean, you know, going back to your day doing Aikido, you know, could you see yourself teaching Shiinagi to a camera? I mean, it's just like, you have to think about that and think, you know what I mean?
Well, no, I know even some of the top instructors, people like Joe Tambu that we had on the other day. He's been doing some online stuff, but then he's also said, you know, they're struggling now. You know, there's only so much you can do. So he's done the interviews, things like that. But it's very, very difficult for an art that's traditional, that relies on kind of touch and feel and sensitivity, etc.
Absolutely. Obviously, I've gone through our basics. I've gone through our striking syllabus. So we're really working a lot on that online at the moment. But I mean, if this goes on for say it goes on for another 3 months, we will be struggling.
Yes, I think. How easy was it to adapt then to an online? Did you have to change yourself? Did you have to change your personality, kind of teaching online? Did you find it a bit odd or difficult?
I did.
Is it a natural thing?
I didn't want to do it at first, and then I thought to myself, I've got some staff here that are following my lead. I have to step up to the plate. Because they didn't want to do it either. I just thought, I've got to lead from the front. So I just said, right, let's do it. I did a class. They sat back and watched me, and it worked really well. And then obviously we was all locked down to our homes. So they've all set their classes up in the lounge at home. And they're all running their classes still. I'm still paying them. I'm running my classes in the evening, and we're doing 21 classes a week online.
Wow.
Between us, and we're doing what we can. You know, we've had some fantastic feedback, and I think I'm a better instructor for it. I've learned different skills that I wouldn't have learned otherwise.
I agree.
So
it's trying to see the positive, isn't it? I think in this situation.
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people losing their lives, a lot of people losing family members, jobs, businesses. It's you know, it is a bad time, and I think you just have to not try and forget about that, because obviously that is important, but you have to try and keep that positive mindset, otherwise it can
you're going to spiral. What's the plans for the future then, Andy? So say everything gets back to normal in the next couple of months maybe, or
my plan for the future is to stay where I am. I've got a lovely martial arts school in Grimsby.
It's beautiful. I've seen the photos. It's beautiful.
You'll have to come over and visit one day, Dan.
Definitely. I'd love to.
Well, it's a really nice school. I've just completely gutted the upstairs and painted it out, and it's really, really nice. And it's kind of modelled on my senseis in America that I've visited a few times. So what's in plan for the future? The plans for the future are just to carry on what we're doing. I would like to open another satellite school if possible. I don't really want to move from where I am. I think people know where we are. It's a nice school. We've got a small dojo downstairs and a bigger one upstairs, so it kind of works really well. And and a nice reception area that we did out last year. So as far as the place is concerned, I was looking for somewhere really big to do like a super centre.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, I do think a small, especially now with what's happening, you know, are you going to be able to have loads of people in one area? Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, staying where I am, social distancing in place, and then once it all kind of calms down, maybe get another little school somewhere else.
Yeah.
Satellite school. And and one of my main things that I like doing now, I've been doing the last sort of 2-3 years, is teaching seminars on courses and things. I love showing people what Kaze Arashi Ryu is about.
Perfect. Yeah, good. We'll have to get you over to Lincoln as well at some point.
Yeah, I'd love
seminar for our guys. That'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome.
All right. Thank you very much, Andy. Really appreciate taking the time to talk to us as always.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate the time.
You're welcome. All right. No problem. Thanks, Andy. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.